From my personal experience, BPD is the most stigmatized mental disorder out there, and I have been working really hard with this channel to try to break this stigma. So keeping with this theme, I thought that today I would share with you 5 must-read books on BPD. So without further ado, let's get it. The first book on our list today is a classic in the BPD community, and you've probably already seen it or maybe even read it yourself, but it's called I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. While I was doing research to find different resources relating to BPD, this book kept popping up on every list, every website that I was seeing, so I figured, well, I should probably read this myself. So the authors of this book actually put together extensive research and compiled it in a comprehensive book, and they have also updated it throughout the years, so it's very up to date. But it starts out with a comprehensive list of all the different symptoms of BPD. It helps us to understand how or why this comes about and to develop empathy for folks who do have BPD. So that's one of the things I really liked, is that it was really easy to read, really easy to understand. Obviously, I have BPD, so for me, this is not new, but if you don't have BPD and you're looking to understand more about it, I would definitely recommend this book. This, out of the 5 that I'm recommending, this would be number 1. Definitely check it out if you're just curious to know more about BPD in general, or if you have it yourself and you're trying to understand more about yourself. Something else that I also really enjoyed about this book is that it takes the time to dismantle some of the most common myths about BPD. So things like, oh, well, they're just manipulative. No, it actually teaches us that they're not manipulative, but they actually just have dysregulated mood systems, and so this makes it so that they act in a way that may appear manipulative to others, but when you understand the underlying mechanisms, you're like, oh wow, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And at the end of the book, they actually spend time talking about different treatment options, and so even for yourself, if you have BPD and you don't know where to start, this is an awesome starting point. The second book on our list today is Stop Walking on Eggshells. Now, alongside with I Hate You, Don't Leave Me, Stop Walking on Eggshells was popping up on all the different lists of resources that I was consulting. And to be honest, when I was reading the synopsis of the book, and it's essentially taking back your life when someone you love has BPD, I thought that this book was going to be highly stigmatizing, because I thought it was going to say like, oh, well, they're just manipulative and that and this and that. So I put off checking it out for a while. And I'm really happy that I actually did check it out, because this book is really not what I was expecting. It actually focuses a lot on explaining the underlying mechanisms and helps the reader to develop empathy and compassion for folks who have BPD, while simultaneously not excusing the behavior. So if you're a spouse, a partner, a friend, a coworker, etc. of someone who has BPD and you want to better understand it, this is the book for you. This is going to teach you how to maintain that relationship, how to have compassion for those who have BPD, while also teach you how you may be enabling the behavior. A lot of the times we don't really know that the lack of boundaries that we're imposing is actually allowing the behaviors to continue. This is a book that's going to provide you great insight and may be able to help you identify the cracks in the way that you're behaving within the relationship itself. The third book I am recommending today is called Mindfulness for Borderline Personality Disorder. Mindfulness has been shown to help strengthen the system in the brain which helps us regulate our emotions with this, which is really important if you have BPD. I hear this all the time from different people. Well, I can't start the recovery process because therapy is too expensive and I can't afford it. Fair enough. Therapy is super expensive. However, there are numerous different resources that exist out there that do not cost an arm and a leg, mindfulness being one of them. DBT, or dialectical behavior therapy, is actually the #1 type of therapy treatment used for BPD, and a huge component of DBT is mindfulness. There's actually an entire module on mindfulness specifically. And so if you can start practicing mindfulness on your own, which by the way is totally free, there's different apps and resources and books about this, but why I like this book specifically, it's because it's mindfulness for BPD. Then you can kickstart the recovery process on your own while you're waiting for a therapist, while you're gathering money, or while you're figuring out an alternative to help you talk to someone. In the meantime, there's still things that you can do. This book is a great way to start. Book number 4 is called The Buddha and the Borderline. Unlike the other books that I have been recommending, which have been written by more professional perspectives, The author is actually talking from a first-person perspective of having had BPD herself, talking about the transition, her experience in childhood, adolescence, and adulthood with BPD. This is a great book if you're feeling very lonely, if you're feeling detached, if you're feeling different from most people. This book can help you to feel connected to a sense of normalcy within the BPD community. I hope that my channel is doing that, but if you want to read something to keep you going in between my videos, this is a great book for you. The last and final book is called Coping with BPD, and yes, this is by the same authors as Mindfulness for Borderline Personality Disorder. Now, while I do recommend reading that book conjointly with this one because this is a workbook, you can do the workbook by yourself and get a lot of benefit from it. It combines different modalities for therapy, so things like cognitive behavioral therapy with dialectical behavior therapy. There's a lot of tools, evidence-based strategies integrated into this workbook. So if you want something more practical rather than reading an abstract book, you want something to actually be doing, then you can definitely check out this workbook as well. Now I know that there's like a million different books that exist about BPD and that I only gave 5 recommendations. So if you have any other books that you have read that you really enjoyed, that really helped you out, leave them in the comments down below because I love reading. It's good for me, it's good for everyone else in the community. Something else that I want to mention is that books are a great way to start, a great place if you don't have the resources or the means to afford other means of therapy or recovery tools. This is a good way to start. But I know a complaint that I hear with books is that they're too general. They're not personalized to you. They don't address your blind spots. And so to address this problem, I'm actually thinking of starting to give individual one-on-one coaching regarding BPD. So whether you're a partner of someone who has BPD and you're looking for strategies, or if you have BPD yourself and you're looking for a place to start and don't really know what to do with it, that's an option that I'm really considering. So if that's interesting to you and the community as a whole, let me know in the comments down below, because if I'm getting a lot of feedback that this is something that you all want, then I'm going to make the appropriate steps to make sure that that gets started. On that note, I wish you all an awesome week, and I will see you back here next time for another episode of On the Line.